ineffectual governance that has failed to meet the aspirations of Iraq's 40 million people, 60% of whom are aged under 25. There are fears voter turnout could drop below the 44.5% figure registered in 2018. A resident of Mosul, which was devastated in the fight against the ISIS armed group, said, according to reports, "What's voting going to change? Nothing. Naktal Aziz, the same people will be in charge after as they were before." Mahmoud Ezo, a professor at the College of Political Science at Mosul University, said there are many calls for a boycott. The first is from the people frustrated with the old parties who have controlled parliament since 2005. The second is the failure of the government to compensate those who have lost homes, businesses and lives, particularly in the old city. More than 25 million citizens are eligible to vote, but not nationals living abroad. Voters are supposed to present a biometric card for what was conceived as a fully electronic voting process. However, some have not received the cards, and authorities say provisions have been made to ensure they are not excluded. Reports from the capital, Baghdad, said there are 600 polling stations across the country dedicated to Friday's early voting. This election means a lot to Iraqis, especially when it being the main demand of the protest in 2019, he said. The new electoral law will allow more independent candidates to the parliament. However, there is a bit of skepticism among the Iraqi public, mainly the Iraqi civil society, on whether this is going to be possible. More than 3,240 candidates are in the running, including 950 women. 1/4 of seats are reserved for female candidates and 9 for minorities, including Christians and Yazidis. This year's election will be held under a new reform electoral law that divides Iraq into 83 constituencies instead of 18. Now, U.S. President Joe Biden's claim of a Taiwan agreement sparks confusion as Beijing ramps up military pressure on Taiwan. The United States President Joe Biden's claim of a Taiwan agreement sparks confusion as Beijing ramps up military pressure on Taiwan. Taipei said, "Do the United States and China have an agreement on Taiwan's political status?" The question was raised on Tuesday when U.S. President Joe Biden told reporters that he and his Chinese counterpart, President Xi Jinping, had agreed to abide by the Taiwan agreement, leaving many around the world scratching their heads. Biden made the remark at the White House in response to a reporter's question about rising tensions in Taiwan Strait, with Beijing sending more than 150 military planes towards Taiwan over 3 consecutive days amid celebrations of the founding of the People's Republic of China. On Monday alone, it sent a record of 56 fighter jets into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone (ADIZ), forcing the Taiwanese Air Force to scramble its jets in response. "I've spoken with President Xi Jinping about Taiwan," Biden said when asked about China's provocation actions. "We will abide by the Taiwan agreement. That's where we are. And we made it clear that I don't think he should be doing anything other than abiding by the agreement." The U.S. president appeared to be referring to a 90-minute conversation he had with Xi Jinping on September 9th. And while his remark appeared aimed at calming fears, it only caused confusion. Because there is no official agreement between Beijing and Washington about Taiwan, known formally as the Republic of China, ROC, Taiwan is a self-ruled island that lies about 161 kilometers, 100 miles off the coast of mainland China. It is a democracy with a separate government and a military. But despite its de facto independence, most countries do not consider Taiwan a separate state due to China's claims over the territory. Coming now to Africa, Morocco's King Mohammed VI unveils new government. On Thursday, Morocco's King Mohammed VI named a new government led by Aziz Akounouch, a billionaire tycoon close to the place who will face pressing economic problems exacerbated by the coronavirus pandemic. The 24-member cabinet formed after a Kannauj National Rally of Independence (RNI) trounced incumbent Islamists in elections last month, includes 7 women, up from 4 in the previous administration. It is largely made up of technocrats, with veteran diplomat Nasser Bourita keeping his role as foreign minister in a context of regional tensions, especially with neighboring Algeria. Morocco's Prime Minister designates Aziz Kannauj C. Abdelatif Albi El, president of Morocco's Authenticity and Modernity Party (PAM), and Nasser Baraka R. The monarch led a ceremony at the royal place in Fez, appointing the members of the new government, the official MAP said in a report. The list of ministers included members of the Liberal RNI and the election run-up, the Authenticity and Modernity Party (PAM), both considered close to the palace, and the center-right ECWA Party, which fought colonial rule. Bourita and Interior Minister Abdullatif Lafti are independents. The RNI won 102 of Parliament's 395 seats in the September 8 polls, sweeping away the moderate Islamist Justice and Development Party (PGD), which had headed the governing coalition for a decade but took just 13 seats. Businessman Kannauj, worth $2 billion according to Forbes, has led the RNI since 2016. His party is considered to close the palace and has been part of all coalition governments for the past 23 years, except during a brief period between 2012 and 2013. Bikes, cars and trucks ready for the 2021 rally still in Morocco. On Thursday, the rally stars of bikes, cars and trucks categories were out in force a day before the Rally Morocco in Zouguara gets underway, a race that is seen as a key precursor event to the legendary Dakar Rally, which will take place in Saudi Arabia in January 2022. We, KMT team, are working. We did a lot of testing in America, and now this race, the Rally Morocco, is very important for us just to continue development and working together with the team just to have the bike in the best condition for the 2022 Dakar Rally held in Saudi Arabia in January next week. The rally began with a 10 kilometers qualifying stage Thursday afternoon, and the leading cars will then start the first of the 5 desert stages on Friday. Rally Morocco, known until the early 2000s as the Atlas Rally, is a full-scale rehearsal for the Dakar, which will take place in Saudi Arabia next January. An objective for Qatari driver Nasser Al-Taiyi, a 3-time winner of the competition. It is nice to be again here, and we see everybody coming and competing in this race, Rally Morocco. It is very important for everybody because it is a really hard race and you can learn a lot, according to the driver. The first 298.24 kilometer desert stage will be split into 2 sections. Competitors will tackle 16,300.52 kilometers against the clock over the 6 days in a total route of 26,086.80 kilometers. The United Nations said South Sudan flooding affects more than 600,000 people. The United Nations said at least 623 people have been affected by widespread flooding in South Sudan since May, with many forced to flee their homes. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, in a briefing note on Thursday, rivers broke their banks following heavy rains, deluging houses and farms in 8 of the country's 10 states. Jonglei and Unity states are the worst hit, representing 58% of those affected, the Emergency Response Agency said. It added, aid workers are using canoes and boats to reach stranded populations, with more than 2/3 of the affected areas now facing the risk of hunger as food prices shoot up, recording a 15% jump since August. Schools, homes, health facilities and water sources were inundated, impacting people's access to basic services, it read. Physical access remains a major challenge for humanitarian organizations to assess and respond to the needs of flood-affected people. Some families have been able to flee to the capital, Juba, while others have set up makeshift camps along highways, grabbing what few possessions they could from the ruins of their flimsy thatched huts. In some parts of the country, violence between rival communities has forced tens of thousands of people to leave their homes, while also complicating emergency workers' efforts to help flood-battered communities. The UN teams have struggled to get aid to wrap a northwestern state plagued by ethnic violence, which is now battling a measles outbreak. Meanwhile, about 80,000 people have been uprooted from their homes in western Equatorial State in the country's southwest as a result of fighting which erupted in June, according to OCHA, with some fleeing to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The agency last month warned of limited supplies and a funding shortage, saying that it had only received 54% of the $1.7 billion required to pay for programs in the country. The Christian Pilgrims Commission's visit to the ECWA International President. The Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, NCPC, visited Evangelical Church Winning All ECWA International President, Reverend Dr. Stephen Panya Baba, yesterday, the 7th of October 2021, at ECWA headquarters, Jos Plateau State. The ECWA PRO, Reverend Romanus, opened the program by welcoming the CAN chairman, 19 Northern State, who is also the executive secretary of the NCPC, Reverend Dr. Yakubu Pam. The ECWA executive and all present, then an opening prayer which was said by the acting assistant general secretary, Reverend Dr. Samuel Atu. The chairman, Reverend Dr. Yakubu Pam, while speaking, congratulated ECWA Television and appreciated the efforts of the ECWA president, who has been a great leader and has been supportive in the ministry. ECWA as a denomination has been a blessing in terms of health, education, being the first denomination to have a registered university, which is the Bingham University, and nation building, especially during the crisis in just last month. ECWA has contributed positively both physically and spiritually. The major reason why he came was to commiserate with the church for the genocide that took place in Miango, which led to loss of lives and properties, and so many ECWA members and churches were also affected. He prayed that God comforts those who lost their loved ones. The chairman also called and encouraged Christians to engage in politics, especially as the forthcoming local government elections is coming up on the 9th of October 2021 in Jos Plateau State. Because of that, he made it a duty to visit all the denominational heads to speak to their members for a peaceful election. The ECWA president also appreciated the chairman for the great honor and commended him for his tireless efforts in the ministry. He said he will continue to work hand in hand with other ministries and NGOs to pursue peace according to biblical injunctions. Prayer unit of ECWA, deliverance, burning of charms and satanic altars. Following the need and desire for revival in Evangelical Church Winning All ECWA, on the 8th of October 2021, the ECWA president, Reverend Dr. Stephen Panya Baba, led an important event, which is the burning of charms and amulets at the ECWA headquarters compound. The event started by an opening prayer and hymn that was led by the ECWA president himself, Reverend Dr. Stephen Panya Baba. Pastor Samuel of the prayer unit gave a briefing on what has been happening in ECWA churches locally, how charms, amulets, and satanic altars have been destroyed, and how members and even pastors have been confessing of being in possession of so many evil charms. He also added that in the prayer unit, they have many people coming for deliverance from the darkness. In attendance was the ECWA president, Reverend Dr. Stephen B. Panya Baba, ECWA Vice President, Reverend Dr. Stephen S. Ajishe, and the ECWA Acting Assistant General Secretary, Reverend Dr. Samuel Atu. Directors of ECWA Department and ECWA pastors were also in attendance to witness this great event, which also streamed live on ECWA Television Facebook at ECWA Television. One of the members who confessed at the event site said he was in possession of charms for long and how his life has been full of sorrows when he was in possession of those charms. But ever since he received Christ and got delivered, he has been enjoying peace and even physical breakthrough. The ECWA president in his speech expressed his joy over the victory the church is enjoying from the bondage of the devil. He appreciated God for witnessing such a day and added that the devil has been oppressing the body of Christ Church for long. He said many have been seeking for help from the wrong places, leading to death and destruction. He quoted John 10:10 on how the devil has come to steal, kill, and destroy, but Christ has come to give church life and give us in full. He urged the church to run back to God and abandon their evil ways, foreign gods, and accept God as the only one true God and King. He concluded by saying we need to always confess God and He alone, and He will be glorified in our lives. He added that the significance of burning of charms and amulets is a flame of more revival in ECWA and more victories in the church. The event was then ended by the physical burning of the charms by the ECWA president, who also gave the benediction thereafter. That's all from me on the Midday International News Desk. Remember that the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. Do enjoy the weekend.